Hey team, welcome back to another incredible episode of the Intentional Agribusiness Leader Podcast. This is your host, Mark Jewell, and today I am joined by the lovely Celeste Lindsey. She's the Executive Director of the Equipment Marketing and Distribution Association. There's a mouthful, but it's pretty cool once you get to learn about it in just a little bit. Celeste, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me. I'm really excited to be on.
Yeah, excited to have you here. Same opening question everybody gets to get started for you. What does it mean for you to be intentional?
To be intentional, I guess, would be, aligning my actions and conversations and decisions with the kind of impact I want to make or create, I guess. So I like to be intentional with my partnerships at work, and I want my people to care or know that I truly care about them. And so by being intentional, that's kind of how I show them that.
I like it. I think that's great. It's super simple, and it's honestly it's kind of refreshing. We live in a world that's like so clickbaity, and everybody's just looking to get attention or looking to see what they get to say about something. And it's nice to hear somebody just trying to do what they said they were going to do. So good, Celeste. Tell us about EMDA. What is this organization, and what do you guys stand for? What do you do?
Yeah, so EMDA is, like you said, the Equipment Marketing Distribution Association. It's been around for a little over 80 years, and our purpose is basically to connect manufacturers of short line equipment to distributors and reps, and just be that extension for them to be that extension arm of selling their products and everything. So that's
Very
kind of what we
cool.
do, and we do that through our portal all year long, and then of course at our functions that we do twice a year. We have one that's coming up, and we have registration that's already launched, but the fall convention, we're going to be in New Orleans this year. So
Let's
our
go.
manufacturers can meet with our distributors and reps.
Very cool. What are the dates for the New Orleans event?
October 27th through October 29th. So it's a 3-day event where we have some speaking, we do some one-on-one meetings, we have some fun things that we're going to do, and then there's a showcase day where our manufacturers can have a booth and the distributors and reps can walk around and view their products.
Very cool. Well, I haven't been to New Orleans in a hot minute, and that's a great time of the year because it's not too terribly hot
That's
down
right.
there at the end of October. So that's a good time to go. When it comes to talk about your membership a little bit, because I don't think a lot of my listeners will necessarily be super familiar with your association specifically, but I'm betting they've all used or regularly use equipment that is manufactured and sold through your membership. So just talk a little bit about your members.
Yeah. So when I say short line equipment, that's like an attachment to a tractor or the parts of that. So I guess the easiest way that most of us can think of, I have a land, and so I have a bush hog in the backyard that attaches to a tractor. But we have 5 different we have 5 different categories in our membership. One of them is a manufacturer. They're our associate members, and then our 2 main members are going to be distributors and reps, and they're basically a sales arm to that manufacturer to help get their product over to the dealers. Then our 4th category would be farm show and government agencies, and that's the farm shows are a part of our organization to promote their shows so that they can bring their products there. And then our government agencies are going to be like someone from like Italy. I have the Italian Trade Association. They bring a delegate of manufacturers over for this fall convention to meet with my distributors and reps. And then our 5th category would be a provider, and that's someone that provides a service for our members. So it'd be like shipping and logistics, business development, software developer, a variety. We have a variety of different types. CRM. I know I left all different types out, but we have quite a few providers that help provide discounts for all of our members.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, that's great. So, well, I mean, how did you find yourself in the executive director role of such an association? Because it's very cool. We all are using. Everybody knows what a bush hog is, and everybody knows what all kinds of attachments they have access to or probably have used in the past. Anybody who grew up in and or around farming has put something on a tractor for sure or taken something off. So we certainly get that. But how'd you find yourself in the role?
Honestly, I just say it's a God thing because I loved my role before. I was a construction recruiter. I loved people, or I love people, and I love helping people. And so I helped companies find, employees. And someone heard about me, reached out, asked me to apply for this position. told them I wasn't interested. They kept pushing. So I was like, fine, I'll just listen to what you have to say. And I remember thinking, how am I going to choose? And so later on during the interview process, it was a long interview process. My boss changed and they needed me to come into the office. And I live close to Atlanta. I say close, it takes about
Mhm.
an hour and a half to 2 hours, but my job was in Atlanta. And at that point I knew God had put this in my path so that I could, transition into this role. And so I've been super blessed to be a part of this community.
Very cool. Very cool. Congrats on that. When it comes to association management, I think intentional leadership is really important because you are in a role where you're probably under the influence, I would say, of a lot of people's opinions, right? On maybe how things should be done, where should we have it? You probably have a board to manage, I would
Yes.
imagine at some level. So, man, I mean, just talk about that. How do you manage other people's expectations when it comes to things like this? Because we all get it. We all find ourselves in situations where you have varying opinions and debate, and these people want to have the event here, or they want to do this there, or it should be done that way. How do you deal with that in your role?
I mean, that's a very good question. You're always going to deal with different personality types, and I think learning each, type of personality that you're working with that can help make those decisions helps me decide what I put in front of them and help them understand. I'm very vocal in my role. I say, this is why, these are our choices and this is why. I'm very I explain everything. I used to be a teacher, I was an educator for 12 years. So I think that that's really helped me with my communication. If I can tell them why I'm making my decisions, most people are like, I don't even know why I questioned you.
What did you teach?
I'm pre-K. So
Pre-K.
yeah,
Oh wow,
you had
yeah,
to talk, you had to explain it
yeah,
very easily, it was,
yeah.
yeah.
See, most people don't understand that and don't appreciate how much you have to break things down in order to bring, especially very young minds. But we do this in adult learning too. I mean, I'm a corporate trainer. That's what I've done for the last 20 years of my career. So, I mean, I don't mean to belittle anybody who's ever been through training, but we do, like, we break it down pretty simple for you in the beginning, and then we call it scaffolding, right? So we just scaffold, little by little over time. But I think most people under appreciate how hard that is, especially let's take your 4-year old,
Yeah.
and within so many months we have to have them doing these much harder tasks, but they're only at, like, they can barely do the most basic first step today, right? And that requires a
Yes.
lot of intention.
Agreed.
Yeah. So pre-K, wow, that's a lot. That takes a lot of energy.
Yes.
So
I actually was a part of that because my kids, I was a part of that industry for a really long time
sure.
because I liked watching them grow.
Yeah, that's very cool. I love it. If you had to choose now between a board of adults and going back and creating curriculum for 4-year olds, I'll put you on the spot. Which one? Which one is easier?
Haven't really thought about it, but I'm probably going to stay with the adults actually.
Yeah, yeah,
I loved working with kids, but I've been working with adults for a lot longer now,
yeah,
and so I feel like I'm on a good path. If you would ask me, quite a few years ago, that might have changed,
yeah.
but yeah.
I got my start in youth leadership development. That's how I got started in speaking. I've been speaking since I was 16. And when I was 19, 20, 21, 22, throughout college, I would travel around the country and do leadership programs for FFA kids. And I loved it. And I had opportunity to work overseas and develop youth organizations in Eastern Europe and the same kind of thing. And I loved it, loved it, loved it. And then I've gone on, in order to feed my family, corporate training was going to be the better gig. It pays better than doing youth development. But man, I think about it now because it's been so long. Like I just volunteered at church to start helping lead, like, the teenager small groups, and
Okay.
I'm sweating a little bit, like, underneath of it, because because if now it feels like a stretch to go back to the thing where I actually got my start, but it's been so long working in the adult arena now. So anyway, that's where I'm at with it.
No, I agree. But I like not, being able to work with kids, you're not working with an equal. And so they look up to you, and so it's a little bit different, which I enjoy too. I'm starting a small group leader for college students.
Oh, yeah,
So
really? Yeah.
yeah.
Very cool. I love it. I love it. Okay. Let's just talk a little bit about your experience in, kind of curating the culture within your association. and your members are paying members. They don't necessarily work for you. But how do you curate sort of any sort of intentional culture within an organization like that? Is it all just based on communication, or what is it?
I mean, I definitely think it's based on communication. Being intentional, making sure that people feel seen and heard. I think that allows them to trust you.
Yeah.
And so I try to show that to my members every day. I don't usually go to bed without answering every email. So they're like, wow, thank you so much for your quick response. I think that's important that I show that their email or their phone call was vitally important to me, or some of them are like, hey, I need some help with this, or I wish we had that as a part of our membership. Then I try to look for ways to make that happen. And I feel like here recently, I don't feel like we just added in a new feature in our portal that allows distributors and manufacturer representatives to connect with manufacturers. And that was really just by listening to feedback from our members. Turned a need into a solution. And so we just created this tool, literally launched it, I think maybe May. We launched it like 6 weeks ago. And so it's just been great. So many people have commented and thanked me so much. And that's just from listening. So yeah, I'm always looking for ways to improve our membership.
Beautiful, beautiful. What for you has been one of the biggest challenges in taking on that role?
Challenges in taking on my role now.
Well, sure. I mean, if you've got a past challenge, we always accept those too. So go with what works for you. But I'm interested in both.
So I guess in the past, as a leader, I was a teacher for a long time, and then I moved into the director role, and I was very young. And so I think my biggest hurdle was facing or overcoming, I guess, the assumptions based on my age and kind of how I could perform. And I think that's, constantly happening. But I'd say my biggest challenge in my role right now would probably be, the accounting part, but QuickBooks basically handles that for me now, so it makes it
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Yeah, yeah. QuickBooks and Claude are now my big accounting friends. They're both very good, and it's interesting now. I mean, I don't want to get off on the AI tangent too much, but just some of these things that have been such big burdens for so long are like, I have it done before breakfast. Like I wake up, we'll have coffee,
Agreed.
and I give it an assignment over coffee, and then that's done. And I don't even think
Yes,
I don't have to think about that the rest of the day. I can do the stuff that actually makes my business money or is impactful to
exactly.
my members or whatever, and that's for me has really freed it up. And it's putting us in a position to create jobs, which I love. Like we're people are
Yes.
worried about AI taking jobs. I'm like, no, like we're creating them right now as we speak because of this. So anyway, I'm also curious. So what's been one of your biggest wins? Let's over the course of your career, or if you want to go into EMDA, that's fine too.
Well, my proudest moment would be back in pre-K when I was in the pre-K era.
Yeah.
And so I was a director of about 50 teachers,
Mm-hmm.
and I had about 250 students under my leadership.
Wow.
So imagine how many families I had on top of that. And
Mm.
like I said, my kids attended the school. And so, I was really invested in creating the best environment for the students there and the teachers and, the community and everything. But I was always constantly searching for ways to improve education, especially in the preschool area. And so I don't remember the date, but we'll say around 2018, I applied for a highly competitive grant that only a few schools were going to get chosen for. I heard later it was about 30 received the
Oh
grant,
wow.
and our school was awarded $90,000. And because of that first thousand, or because of that first grant, we were able to get more grant money after that. And so this funding transformed the school completely, from the classrooms, with the things that we could provide for the kids, to our teachers, development. And I would even say to today, it still has impacted the kids.
Yeah.
Like my kids are a senior and a junior, and just seeing their grades and their friends that have gone through the same school, and from that foundation, and how much they grew. They're in AP classes, they're maintaining strong GPAs, getting accepted into great colleges. And I think that was because of that foundation I built then. So that's probably one of my most proudest moments.
Like it. That's
But
cool.
as far as where I'm at now,
Mhm.
I started my role about 3 years ago, and our membership was about 120 whenever I fully took it on in January of 2024. And within our first 9 months, we grew 50%,
Wow.
about
Wow.
50%. And so I think that's, I guess my most recent proud moment.
That's really
So
cool.
we have, yeah, we have over 200 members, and right now is going to be the highest growing time for our membership since we're getting ready
Mhm.
for the fall convention.
Mhm.
And so yeah, we'll see a lot of people want to sign up to be a member because they can't get invited to come unless they're a part of our membership. So
Yeah, for sure. What do you attribute the growth to?
I would say, the relationship building, that's kind of what I've grown in from being in pre-K to doing recruiting and everything. But I think also increased visibility on social media. We didn't really have very much. So people didn't know about us. They were like, who are you? And so I think that really helped our social media presence. So yeah, I'd say probably the relationship building and our social media presence.
Yeah, let's go. Cool. I like it a lot. All right. So I'm curious. Everybody has somebody that's influenced them over the course of their career. Who's been most impactful for you over the course of your time?
The most impactful person in my career.
Hmm.
I've always said my mom has always been my biggest role model.
Hmm.
This was through school, and I probably would say that still now. She worked, she had 3 kids, and then I even got to work with her for a little bit, and just seeing her work background and the way that she thinks about things and stuff like that. So I guess it's just gonna consistently be my mom from
Okay.
from when
That
I
you
was
know
little to now.
we've had a lot of dads on that question on the show over a couple hundred episodes. Not a lot of moms, so it's good. I'm glad we've got one as of late, and it's good. Our moms are important. I'm excited. I only get to see my mom maybe like once, twice a year at this point at this stage of life. But we live half a country apart. But they're flying in for graduation this weekend, so
Yay.
we get to hang out with the fam a little bit this weekend. That'll be nice. Okay. When you think about your growth and personal development courses, any courses that you've taken or books that you've read or podcasts that you listen to, what do you recommend to people? I know you're into fitness too, so feel free to go that direction if you want a little bit. But what's been most useful for you? What book or podcast recommendation would you have?
Gosh, I mean, that's definitely a hard decision. I like to listen to the books on tape, and they're all the murder mystery books. So it wouldn't be to help kind of with my future. So that one probably isn't going to help. But I mean, we have a lot of podcasts in our industry that I think are definitely interesting, and I feel like help me with my job because I came from teaching, then recruiting. So I guess, and we have several members that do podcasts. So I don't want to throw anybody like over. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I think that's a hard question to answer for sure
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I think it's important to dive into those podcasts and read a lot of like news articles to keep yourself up to date. And I can't say that one specifically has impacted me so much.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Well, let's talk about this because you not only run an association, but you also run a gym out of your barndo. So can we talk? We maybe should have opened up talking about the barn dominium. So first of all, tell us about the barn dominium. Like, what does this look like?
So it's like two boxes. So we have a box on one side that's our house, and then a box on the other side that's our garage,
Okay,
with a gym in the back and a bathroom. And then on top, it's a 2 bedroom, 2.5 bath, kind of little apartment, I guess you could say. But yeah, so we have a gym behind the garage, and we're in the country, we're Athens, Georgia. People don't really know where Statham is, so I say Athens.
sure,
So we're in the country, so it takes about 20-ish minutes to get anywhere. And so all the people locally around here, I can't say all of them, a lot of people locally, we have the Georgia Club. I have members from there. And we have about 20-ish members that are a part of the gym. And I do about 10 classes a week, sometimes more. I do a Saturday class if we can make it happen. And I even have a little partner who comes and helps me because I travel for work sometimes, and so she takes over for me while I'm out, so everybody can still get their workouts and everything. So
that's
it's
cool.
great.
Yeah. So is it mostly hit workouts? Is that the style of
Yes.
workout that you're telling me off mic before?
Yes, we do strength training and hit workouts. Yes, it's been pretty awesome to watch everybody, transform, physically, mentally. So yeah.
Okay, so two questions because this episode probably is coming out in like August timeframe. So let's say it's August, and I'm going into the fall season. It's like I got to train for Thanksgiving and Christmas right at this point. So what the first question I have is just like how does the fitness aspect of your life correlate or play into the professional aspect? Because I'm an executive director. This is what I get paid to do, right? But I'm also like, I'm committed to being in shape, and I'm obviously you're passionate about that. So how does the physical component help in the other professional side?
I think if you are um, regimented enough to work out every day or regularly, I think that shows, you schedule your things accordingly. I think it shows importance of yourself, because when you do work out, it promotes not just your body of getting strong, but it also promotes your mind, because a lot of these things you have to tell your body that you can do. I can do a burpee. I can do a pull up. I can do these things. And so yeah, I
Yeah.
guess that's, hopefully I answered your question.
No, it's good. No, it's good. It's honestly, I mean, because I mean, I think in our work. So just so you know, we run a program called the Thriving Leader. It's been our flagship leadership program for over 10 years. And when they come to that program, they begin at 6 o'clock in the morning with usually a kickboxing workout, not because they want to, because I make them go there. And that is, and it's the gel, right? It's part of our process, right? And it's the catalyst. It gets people sweating together, and therefore they're more open once the classroom component of what we're doing begins. It became a part of our culture. People now expect that from us. And at first it was kind of like, man, I was nervous about it. Like, what are people going to think about me if I make them go to a workout? But over 1 year, 2 years, all of a sudden it became like expected, and people knew that it was going to happen, and they kind of knew that they were going to get into it once they got enrolled. And it's made such a big impact, because I don't believe that you can separate the two, right? Your body goes
I
where you go.
agree.
Like wherever you
Yeah,
are,
I think,
wherever you go, there you are. So yeah.
yeah, I agree with you for sure.
Okay. So when you go on the road, so pro tips, when you go on the road, how do you keep going without losing steam, right? Because it's tough if you, especially for those of us that travel a lot. You're heading out, you don't have access to your gym, you don't have access to your kitchen and your food and the things, you're eating out, and maybe having some drinks out late at night or whatever. So how do we stay on top of the game?
Think for what I try to promote to even the people in my gym is it's about what you eat. And so
Mhm.
really focusing on protein and making sure that you have enough protein. And people don't realize that they're not eating enough protein. You know,
Yeah.
you should be eating about your body weight in ounces, or
Hmm.
your body weight goal, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
And
In
so
grams, right?
that's
Yep.
a lot. That's a lot.
Hmm.
I mean, everybody weighs over 100 pounds. So you're eating over 100, ounces of meat. And so when you're on
Hmm.
vacation or traveling for work, that can become really difficult. My biggest thing that I do is I bring my protein powder with me,
Hmm.
and that's how I supplement and make sure that I get that protein in. And then as far as workouts, because I still love my workouts, some, like my fall convention, that's a workout in itself. I don't get to work
Hmm.
out that week, and that's okay because I get at least 20,000 plus steps those weeks.
You bet.
But
Yeah, you're doing
other,
it.
things that I travel on, I'll do like a in the hotel, like little workout with just body weights, squat,
Hmm.
push-ups and sit-ups, and do it as fast as you can with the best form. You could be sore just from that, as long as you are going quickly and really trying to like burn your muscles. So I
I
found
think
that
I
to be
think
very
we
helpful.
we want to keep them focused on the fact that they can do it quickly, not that they might
Right.
get sore. Because I
You
don't
can
want to
do 10
discourage.
minutes in your gym, in your hotel, 10 minutes. Go
Yeah,
quickly, try to get 10 rounds of 10 of those things, and wow, you're going to find, wait, I might have been more sore from that than I was when I went to the gym.
you bet. Now I want to clarify something that you said. Would we? So if I'm thinking how much protein do I need? I want. Let's say so. I weigh 215 pounds. So I need 215 grams of protein, not ounces, right?
Grams. Yes, did I
Right.
say
Yeah.
ounces?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
I was
you.
just close. Like,
Thank
I'm
you
trying to figure out how
for
am I going to get
correcting
200
me.
ounces of steak in me tonight.
Yes.
Like, I don't think I can
Well,
do
we
that.
want you to drink it all, actually.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad
No,
you
I do the
I'm
same. I
glad
mean,
you
I
found.
it's
You
very
were listening.
hard. Yeah, yeah. Well, but it's also very hard, and I want people to know that they can do it. And for me, just a good, whey protein powder has been, I usually do like 50 to 75 grams in a protein shake after my workout in the morning.
Yes.
That's where I get like the bulk of it. That's where I get half of my grams. And then, I try to do the best, whether it's, pork or steak or chicken or something else, or fish or whatever throughout the day. But, and there, obviously there's plant-based options as well, but it's a challenge. You really have to be intentional in thinking about how to get that. But I know, here's what I've noticed: the more intentional I become with that, the more the more this thing that I walk around in works. I call it the meat suit. The more my meat suit works better, and that gives me more clarity when I'm sitting down at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to have an interview with Celeste Lindsey. Right. Or when
That's
I'm,
right.
getting on the 15th sales call and I've been told no 11 times today, or whatever the case may be, right? Because we deal with all
Mhm.
these ups and downs. And if you don't have the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and emotional capacity to deal with it, right, you start to cut corners, you start to get tired, we start to let things go. And then we often sedate with other things, which is probably too much of the wrong kinds of food, or too much alcohol, or too much
A,
sleep,
a
or too
couple
much,
beverages.
all the things, right? So it's very easy, especially when you go to trade shows a lot. When you're, if you're in heavy trade show season, it's very easy because you're on your feet, you're on the floor, you're like, oh, I walked around today. But yeah, I mean, like if you're running it, that's different. When you're in New Orleans, that's fine. But if you're like just at the show, being on your feet doesn't count. You still got to go work
You
out.
can
I'm
still do
calling you.
something else. Yeah.
I'm calling them out. If for those people that said I can just go be on my feet all day, and like, no, that doesn't count. Squats at lunch at least. So
That's right.
okay, very cool. Well, Celeste, it's been cool to meet you. Thanks for coming on the show. Any last thoughts that you'd have for the audience before we cut it loose?
I don't have any last thoughts. I just appreciate you for inviting me to be a part of this
Yeah, absolutely.
and potentially get more information out about our association. So I really appreciate you.
Well, whatever you're doing so far seems to be working, growing membership like a weed, and I mean that in the best way possible. So good for you guys, and make sure we check it out. What is your all's website so we make sure we send people to the right place?
Go to www.
That is so simple. Okay, awesome. EMDA.net. You guys take a look at it. Celeste, thanks for being on.
Thank you.